Asking questions of yourself, like you said,
Yeah.
that's always a tough one, right? Because
Yeah.
it's very easy for all of us to give ourselves a free pass, saying, I don't want to ask you because I don't want to touch something that's uncomfortable for me. Because we all know what's uncomfortable for us. We
Yes.
stay away from it, and then becomes even tougher to say, okay, this is something I really need to ask myself. How does someone bring themselves to that point of asking themselves the questions they need to ask?
The hard
Yeah.
questions. I think it is so important to be honest to our own selves. And the reason I say it is because I was dishonest to myself for a very long time in my life. I feel I was living in denial. I feel I was making myself believe in the life that I was leading and in the person who I was becoming. But I think there came a point where I could not recognize who I had become, what I wanted, and who I was being internally. That's not the Priya that I remembered growing up. And I think there has to be a process wherein that moment of self-hatred, self-doubt, self-critique, whatever phrase you want to give it, that comes to you when you need to start questioning yourselves. And if that is happening to anybody,
Yeah.
I think that is the right moment. And it comes to all of us. Sometimes we choose to let go and not ask us the hard questions because truth is very hard to face.
Yeah.
And I've personally come across that as well. And I think that I started asking myself, why are you unhappy? Because I would wake up every day. I would go to my job. I would come home. I would have a great meal. I would go to the restaurants on the weekends. I would hang out with my friends. I would live a lovely life with my ex husband. And I would still not be happy. And this happened daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Years passed by. And there came a time when I started asking myself, why are you unhappy?
Yeah.
What is the source of this unhappiness? Because if someone looks at your life, observes your life
Yeah.
from the outside, you have everything. What is it, Priya, that you don't have? And the answer was that I wasn't creating anything. The answer was that I wasn't producing things that I thought I would produce in my life.
Yeah.
It's like being fully pregnant and not giving birth.
Yeah.
So obviously you will be in labor pains. So I think it was those 8 years of extended labor. And the day I started answering the questions, I was also very homesick. I wanted to come back home to India. I had had enough of that NRI lifestyle. I realized that it wasn't meant for me in the first 2 years of being there, but I still gave it so many more years just trying to convince myself that this is it. This is what you wanted. This is going to make you happy. So I think the day I started asking myself why I was unhappy is the day I was truly able to work on my happiness.
Another aspect of happiness, right? I mean, there's been an entire study on this. I think it's one of the oldest studies on happiness, which is the Harvard study, said that the fundamental core of happiness is having those people connected to you who you have relationships with. Having strong relationships, enduring relationships is the core of happiness.
For more insights like this, make sure you check out the full episode.